We will read in this week's Sedra, when you will go out to war against your enemies, and Hashem, your God, will deliver them into your hand. Reb Tzadok HaKohen asks as to why the Torah states against your enemies. The word enemies seems superfluous. Against whom else does one go out to war? Reb Tzadok answers, quoting Rashi, that this portion of the Torah, on its face, appears to be addressing a physical war. However, the Torah is also addressing a different kind of war, one in which the Jew is engaging in battle against his Yetzer Hara, his evil inclination. The Torah is teaching that one must understand and recognize that the evil inclination is an enemy, although it entices him with friendship, trying to convince him that all he seeks is his well-being and pleasure. The Dubna Maggid delves into the evil inclination's modus operandi. On the verse in Bereshis, sin couches at the door, its urge is toward you. He explains that poor beggars who go house to house to collect small change or food always stand by the door. However, if the poor man is an acquaintance or a relative, he will not only ask for a more significant amount but also come inside, sit by the table, even have a meal. Then there is a money collector whose goal is to take your home and your business in their entirety. Finally, there is the robber who wants everything and is ready and willing to even take your life. So works the Yetzer Hara. Sin couches at the door. Indeed, at first he stays at the door, on the outside, seeking small things from you. Then, its urge is toward you. It wants to enter your life and grab everything, with your neshama, your soul, being its primary target. The Torah teaches us that one must battle the Yetzer Hara while it is still only at the door. When you will go out to war against your enemies, you must go outside, before it will come in, before it will stick its foot in the door. This battle against the Yetzer Hara is difficult and requires a proper mindset to be victorious. The Midrash teaches us that although the very literal meaning of the first verse means on your enemies, it should be understood as against your enemies. Reb Aaron Belzer asks, so why didn't the Torah write against your enemies? Why does it read on your enemies if it means against your enemies? He answers that it is so written to motivate the Jew that right when he is going out to war, he should feel pride and certainty that he is on his enemies, above them, higher and stronger. Unfortunately, many Jews feel too weak to stand alone in the battle against the Yetzer Hara. The individual Jew would very happily return to Judaism, to Torah, to the synagogue and to Shabbos, but there are so many obstacles, so many impediments. One may question, how can he change? How can he withstand the ridicule of his family, his friends, business colleagues and society at large? His current circumstances constrain him. Therefore the commentators explain that at first the verse states your enemies in plural, and then it states that Hashem will give him over in your hand, in the singular. This is to teach that when one first assesses the situation, one thinks that he needs to battle all that shackles him, family, friends, work. However, in truth, there is only one person that he must battle and conquer, himself. Hashem ensures that if he will go out to battle with a desire to be above your enemies, with the confidence of having the upper hand, Hashem will deliver the enemy into his hand, and he will be the victor. The Be'er Mayim Hayim notes that the literary style of many of the mitzvos in our Sedra is that the beginning of the verse is in future tense. Then it utilizes what is called a Vav HaMehapeh, to change what is essentially a past tense term into future tense. We find this, for example, by the verses dealing with going to war, marrying 2 women and building a new home. He explains that a Jew thinks, how can I return to Hashem and Torah after so many years of absence and alienation? The Torah states that if you turn now to a new future, if you want to build a new home, a new life, then Hashem will change the past. He will use the Vav HaMehapeh, so that your past will be in harmony with the future. Many ask, if the potential and efficacy of tshuva is so powerful, then why do we find in this week's Sedra the law of the wayward and rebellious son, for whom the possibility of doing tshuva is precluded? He has no opportunity to do tshuva, as he is executed for what is seemingly a minor infraction of living a life of gluttony and drunkenness. The sages similarly asked, should one be stoned to death because he drank stolen meat and drank wine? They answer that the Torah looks into the future and sees that later in life he will become a hardened criminal, robbing from others, a risk to society. Therefore the Torah directed that he should die while he is relatively innocent and not die later on in his life after committing heinous crimes. This is still not understandable. He is only a child of 13 years old. Is it certain that he will always be on such a criminal path, and that he will never return and do tshuva? He is also given the most severe judgment, stoning, the harshest of all executions. The Sifrei explains that he is labeled a ben sorer umore. The word more means that he teaches himself a different way. He is already a teacher, including for others. If he had sinned alone, then there would be hope that when he is older, he would do tshuva. However, if he is already a leader of a gang, if he is already a rebbe of vandals, then later on in life, it is certain that he will be a cruel, violent criminal. Therefore it is better for him to die now, and all Israel shall hear, and they shall fear. If only today's judges, criminologists, sociologists and psychologists would apply this principle when dealing with young criminals who harass our society. Unfortunately, they handle the problem superficially, something that Jews are taught not to do, as we learn from the following matter. We will read about a prohibition, beware of a tzaras affliction. The sages, as quoted in Rashi, state that one should not pluck out symptoms of uncleanness, nor cut out the spot of tzaras. Aside from the signs that are evident on the skin, each tzaras, each plague, each uncleanness has roots, a deep underlying cause. If one cuts out the external tzaras and makes the skin smooth, the affliction is still not healed since the roots remain. Judges and politicians try to smooth over the problems that torment decent, innocent people. However, they permit the roots of immorality to fester. Interestingly, we will read in reference to many prohibitions either the phrase "he will not be able to" or the phrase "you will not be able." Reb Yehoshua ben Korha explains that you can do, but you are not permitted to do so. When a Jew is prohibited from doing something, for example eating non-kosher, although physically there is nothing restricting him from doing so, his dedication to Hashem makes it as if it is an impossibility. The reason is because we are rooted. The root that connects us to Hashem is our soul, which is pure, sincere and holy. With these lessons relating to having the right mindset to battle the Yetzer Hara, knowing where to conduct the battle, and recognizing the true enemy, then our sinful past will be transformed and be consistent with our promising future, and our connection to Hashem will be firmly rooted. Shabbat Shalom.